Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel for day 3 of Buildmas. We are back in Wish Blossom Ranch and we are, as you can see, in Glamour Gulch, and I am going to be doing a build for Cruella's home. Now, when I first saw this biome, I was really scared to even think about how to decorate it. I didn't really have any ideas. Obviously, I knew I wanted to keep Cruella's home here because it fits perfectly in with the biome. So I decided to start with this, and actually I end up really loving how this turned out. I'll talk more about it at the end. But I kind of had a lot of fun with this, so I hope you enjoy it and it maybe gives you some inspiration for Cruella's home or just for Glamour Gulch in general. So as you can see, to start with, in this upper section, I wanted to build up here because obviously you've got the really gorgeous bridge that leads into it, as well as obviously these built-in brick walls around. This is the only part of Glamour Gulch that has these walls, I think, which is a shame. I feel like these would have been nice to use somewhere else, but I just felt like this was the perfect spot to have her home. I was debating whether to make it be like a little mini city up here or to put her home up here, but I just felt like it made so much sense for her to have the most kind of regal and a cut-off area in the whole biome. So I decided to place her house in and add in some of the bigger pieces. As you can see, I've added in a bunch of the different ones that we've got, like the entranceway as well as the wings and things like that. And then I've also obviously added in the stable items that we got from some blueprints, as well as the greenhouse pieces, including that blueprint. So I went in with kind of these bigger things first to get the structure out the way and figure out how I wanted to lay everything out. After that, I went in and added in some of the pathway. Now in here I was going to use the new pathway, but I just did not have enough resources to craft the amount I'd need for this build. It's such a heavily decorated area with so much pathing that I just knew I wouldn't even be close to having enough. And obviously I know a lot of you probably will be in the same boat with that pathway, so I decided to just go for the classic brick pathway from the base game, and then use the asphalt path I always use to make roads when I add the road in later on. But for now I wanted to kind of get this entranceway mapped out. As you can see, I've placed the greenhouse out here because I just felt like it was a cute little thing to go opposite the entrance, and then start using some of the foliage and crafting items to kind of bulk out this entranceway and start making it look quite grand. Now, as you can see, I'm now adding in the road. I was going to do a road going through this whole build, but it just it just would not have worked space-wise. Things would have ended up pretty cramped, which is a shame because I felt like it would have made a lot of sense to have the road go all the way through. When I do make a kind of Glamour Gulch themed city, I'm going to make it obviously a lot more accessible with roads and stuff like that. But for now, I wanted to just keep it quite minimal in here and just kind of have the effect of it rather than having it go all the way through. But I just felt like it kind of made sense to have Cruella's estate not have any roads and she can park her car out here and everything like that. So once I'd kind of got that structure in, I then started adding some decorations outside the greenhouse. I wanted to keep it very simple but very in theme for her out here. A lot of the items that I use in this build in general are craftables from obviously this DLC. I obviously do have craftables from the others and the base game as well, but obviously it is heavily filled with new craftables, so obviously bear that in mind that it does take a lot of time to get the resources you need to craft these things. It is a grind, so that is something to bear in mind. But obviously as time goes on, you start unlocking things and things like that. Obviously you can build up to getting, you know, the amount you'd need, because I found it very, very difficult when I was first starting. Now once I'd kind of got to a point where I was happy to continue on from this front entrance section, I then continued the path into the middle of the courtyard where we've obviously got one of these really large fountains. I grabbed this from another part of Glamour Gulch so that I didn't obviously have to craft as much. I did that with a lot of the stuff in here, and that would always be my tip, is to use anything that's kind of lying around that you can pick up. Like I think I picked up literally everything that was in all the biomes, to obviously help minimize how long it would take to craft everything and gather all the resources. But obviously I worked on that and then started connecting the path to the other exit, the smaller one, kind of like a side exit I guess, and kind of map that in so I could see where the path was going to go. Now for the front of Cruella's house, as you can see, I did start off by mapping in some of the marble fences that we got from Scrooge's store in Storybook Vale, and as well as that obviously added in some more Scrooge items as well as some of the new stuff that we get in the DLC, and kind of wanted to map in just a simple little front entrance for the house, and kind of get that mapped in. And then once I had done that, I then moved on to tweaking and changing the front entrance again. I do go back and forth a lot, just bear that in mind. With this build, I kind of didn't do it section by section. I kind of worked on a bit, moved on to the next bit, and then kind of went back and tweaked and changed, because once I started on the next bit, it gave me some inspiration for how I could adapt the previous bit I'd done, if that makes sense. And I wanted to try and figure out a way to make that work. Now, when I did this entrance bit, I did originally map it in with having the sidewalk pathway and the road. As we go later into the video, you'll see I completely changed this entranceway, but I wanted to leave this in to give you an idea of my thought process at the time, what I was planning on doing, and then obviously later on you'll see me change it into something that I'm a lot happier with. Obviously this entrance part sadly is at a very weird angle, based on how I'd place the buildings. I just wanted the buildings to be straight on and not be angled, but if you are someone who would rather have them angled, you could definitely make this entrance a lot smoother and more aesthetically pleasing, I guess. But I wanted to optimize space so that I could fit the greenhouse and obviously have that kind of bolder entranceway without it being too condensed and squished. Now once I had kind of got to the point with that, I then moved back onto the back of the house, sorry for flip-flopping around, and I started to make a catwalk kind of fashion area. I wanted to do this kind of to the side of Cruella's house, and I will surround it with lots of trees and foliage later on, so that it's a lot more hidden, because at the moment it looks a little bit out of place. But I used some of the new craftable runway tiles, as well as the lights and a lot of the new craftable items, to create just like a mini runway section where Cruella can kind of show off her fashion and things like that. And I kind of tweaked and changed it as I went on to kind of make it bold but not be too big, and to fit nicely in this little corner section. Now, as I'm obviously finishing up this runway, you will see off camera, I made some Touch of Magic rugs. This wasn't supposed to be off camera, it was just an accident, and I didn't unpause the recording, to be completely honest. So these are some rugs I literally just made in Touch of Magic. I just got some rugs, made them white, and then put on the polka dot pattern that's in the shape section, obviously in a black colour to look like Dalmatian spots, and I placed one of these underneath the seating on the runway. And as you'll see as we go forward, I also placed one at the entrance of her home, as well as the entrance to the courtyard. So I use a few of them around here, and then I do go on later to make some small round rugs in the same pattern that I use to go under like a bench and to go into the entrance of the greenhouse, just to kind of keep that pattern going. I do wish we'd got some like Dalmatian spot print things with her and like rugs and stuff like that, but I decided it was quite easy to create my own, so I did do those. And you could definitely use these for the path in here. Obviously I didn't, but that would be a really cool build, is to completely make it out of these rugs. I feel it would be such a fun challenge, so if anyone does give that a go, I would love to see it. Now once I'd finished off the runway section, added kind of all the foliage around it to cover it over, I then added the other section that I wanted on the opposite side of her house, which was just a little seating area. We have the table that's already decorated from one of her early quests to unlock her, and then obviously some of the other ones as well that we can get from crafting and Scrooge and things like that, and made this like kind of little small dining area. Obviously something to bear in mind for this whole video is I haven't done any questing with Cruella since unlocking her, so I don't have any of her items. So these will obviously get added as time goes on, but these obviously aren't included in here for that reason, just in case anyone was curious, or you thought, oh actually there would have been an item that would have worked really well in here. I know that we get to unlock her car at some point, so I've made obviously the parking space outside the entrance of the courtyard. I popped Oswald's car in here just to kind of show the thought and idea I had going on, but obviously once I unlock her car it will be going in here, so that was kind of my forethought, but I just wanted to mention that in case anyone was curious why there are some things missing. Now, once I'd worked on the other side of the entrance of the courtyard, as well as that little seating area with the phone booth, I then started working on this side part, added in some pathway to kind of do a little path into this kind of stable area, and also added in the little skunk house we get, and I do obviously go in later and put some of the actual skunks in there. I know Cruella hates them, but I just felt like they work so well in here. And then I started working on the kind of entrance to this area, this side part, which I kind of didn't really have a massive plan with what to do here, but I used some of the iron brick fencing because I felt like it worked well with the red and grey theme we had obviously going on with the buildings. And then I start adding in a lot of foliage as well as lighting to kind of map this pathway in. Now, as you can see at this point, I am now going in and changing this entrance part. I did say earlier on that I don't keep it how it is. I just wasn't a fan of it. It didn't look how I wanted it to look. I just wasn't keen on it. So I go in now and obviously cut off that road section, and change it slightly, give it kind of a symmetrical pattern with the fencing and the lampposts. And then I kind of tweak and change that entrance part to just make it feel a lot more accurate to what I want it to look like. It did take some time and some trial and error to figure it out because it is a bit of an odd space, but I am happy with how it ended up once I'd figured it out. Now back at the back of the building on this side entrance, obviously as you can see I've added in a bunch of the hedges all along this pathway, and then I added in some of the craftable little red and black trees. I can't lie, when I crafted these I thought they were going to be much bigger, and then when I placed them I was like, oh my god, they're tiny, but they actually worked quite well because they are so small to kind of go along the pathway, but that is something to bear in mind if you haven't crafted them yet. They are very, very small. And then I started to fill up both sides with a lot more foliage, kind of make it feel overgrown, and also give it some kind of introduction into this area and to the theme of the biome. Now, one of the final touches that I did in the biome was to add a bunch of the candelabras around. I just felt like these fiery lights would be really, really nice in contrast with the buildings. It kind of gave it more of this regal look that kind of goes with Cruella's theme. And I also then added the last bits of foliage around the entrance and around the other sections to kind of wrap everything up and make sure that I'd used everything I wanted to use in all the different areas. So here is the final biome. As you can see, we're coming in from this gorgeous bridge area, and obviously as we come in we have got the kind of tweaked and changed entrance, which has now just got the pathway. I much prefer how this looks now. We've got lots of foliage, and then obviously the parking spot that will be for Cruella's car but is currently housing Oswald's, just to kind of give you guys an idea. And then as we go in, we've obviously got the little path to the rock spot, and then we've got the greenhouse. I absolutely love how this looks here, and I just think it was the perfect spot for it. And obviously we've got the little polka dot rug as a little doormat. We've got some of the heart and spade rose trees from the Alice in Wonderland update, which I think work really well with Cruella as well. And then we've got a little bench seating area, and then obviously these symmetrical designs on either side of the main entrance. We've got a polka dot rug to again welcome us in. I wanted to keep this theme going throughout. I feel like I could probably have used more, so maybe one day I'll add more. And then as we come through, we've obviously got the massive fountain in the middle, and then we've got this quaint little seating area with the red foam box, which I absolutely love. I can't wait to use these everywhere, especially in every city I make. We've then got the little hidden pathway over to our kind of fashion runway area. We've got the chairs where people can sit and watch people come down and show off what they're wearing, and a lot of the craftable items and lights to make it really bright in here, but obviously keep the foliage quite heavy and dense so it felt like it was quite secluded and you couldn't see it from the main courtyard. That was kind of the aim I wanted to go for, because I didn't want it to be too obvious. Now as we head around the front of Cruella's house, we've obviously got another polka dot rug, which I just think works perfectly here, and then we've obviously got some statues and some of the marble fencing to match with that kind of more regal element of her home. And then as we head out the side section through these iron fences, we've got our little skunk house area. I just think they look so cute here. I think one day when we have more Dalmatians, maybe I could add them in here, because I just think they would be so cute. We've then got our little stable area with that little entranceway, and then we have obviously got the path that leads us out, and then before that we go into our final little section, which is our little kind of dining seating area. Again, very overgrown and very hidden, but still keeping that regal look with the table from the quest, as well as another one that I've obviously added some food to. I went for some red foods, of course, to kind of fit with the theme. And then as we head down the final part of the path, we've got these really cute little black and red trees, the Cruella archway, which is from the blueprint, and then obviously the final little decor to lead us out. So here are some shots of the final build. As I said at the start, I genuinely was so worried about this build, or even just decorating in Glamour Gulch in general. It's just not my kind of thing, but I actually love how this turned out. I'm genuinely so happy with it. I think it's actually one of my favourite builds I've done in a long time, because I think it was very out of my comfort zone, and I obviously had the challenge of only really using items that fit in that kind of black, white and red theme, which is quite difficult in this game because we don't have a lot of stuff in those specific colours. So I felt like that was a really fun challenge for me. I really ended up enjoying it, and I think I will definitely keep this here for a long time. Let me know down below what you thought of the build and whether you've decorated in Glamour Gulch yet or even decorated Cruella's house, and I hope it helps some of you guys out if you are struggling with how to decorate here, because I know I definitely was. Make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and to see the next Buildmas videos from me, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye!